Okay, once we've checked the misalignment, and if it's improperly aligned, we can hopefully remedy that problem. The pipe is ready to be stabbed. But just prior to stabbing the pin into the box connection, both connections need to be completely cleaned, of course, of all debris and contaminants, because that will cause problems during assembly. And then a thread compound must be applied to the actual threads of both pin and box, or in some cases just the pin. Thread compound, commonly referred to in the oil field business as thread dope, is the lubricant which actually prevents the threads from damaging themselves during assembly. So it's not an oil; it's more of a paste, grease type substance. Now, after misalignment, doping, using the wrong dope or incorrectly doping, is the biggest single cause of problems and damage to connections. Misalignment being one, the wrong thread compound or contaminated thread compound or badly applied thread compound is the second. If you then put both of them together, you have a big problem. Now, thread compound is not just thread compound. Dope is not just dope. The correct thread compound needs to be used for the correct connection. So it's best not to skimp on that particular commodity. It's a bit like your car. You don't put bad oil into your car engine. You put good oil into your car engine. It's the cheapest thing to do. So buy the correct stuff. So don't skimp on the dope. Don't allow it to become contaminated, and do get the correct dope for the connection. Now, dope must either be API chemical compliant, as stipulated in API specifications, or must be the correct dope as tested and recommended by the manufacturer for that particular connection. Many manufacturers, or most manufacturers of connections, in actual fact, test specific dope or dopes for that particular connection, and it's quite a lengthy process, and it's a very expensive process. But once they've recommended a particular thread compound, it's best to use that for that connection. Then it needs to be applied correctly. It needs to be applied to clean connections. Contamination is a problem. Again, the analogy is like your motor car engine. You put debris into the oil, it's going to damage the engine. It's the same with thread compounds. You get contaminants in there, it's going to cause a problem during assembly. So it needs to be the correct dope applied to clean, prepared connections, and it needs to be applied in the correct manner. It needs to be applied evenly and smoothly around the whole connection, not just part of it. If we look at this connection here, the whole 360 degrees is machined. Therefore, the whole 360 degrees actually needs thread compound applied. So it's really quite a simple process of applying it evenly and smoothly all the way through, and then every thread and every component is actually protected. The other issue that sometimes arises on a rig, apart from badly applied dope, is overdoping. That's another issue that can cause problems with particular connections, especially nowadays with really tightly engineered connections. Too much dope is almost as bad as too little dope. There is one exception to this thread doping rule, and that's if you're actually running a dopeless connection, as it's called. As the name suggests, thread dope or thread compound is not then required on a dopeless connection. Why? Because the lubricant is actually applied to the connection at the mill, and it's a dry layer which becomes a specific lubricant as the connection is made up. This actually eradicates many problems such as overdoping, incorrectly doping, or contaminated doping.